Temperatures will be allowed to fall away, though, so we'll be down into single figures for some areas, so slightly fresher start to the day, but there's going to be more sunshine around to start the day tomorrow morning for most areas. However, across western areas of Scotland, quite frequent showers will move in, as well as across the Northern Isles as well. These bring a risk of thunder as well and could last for quite a while. We'll also see some heavy showers across parts of Northern Ireland into some northwestern areas of the UK, of England as well. But eastern areas and southern and central areas should stay dry through Thursday morning and, in fact, well into the afternoon as well. But the breeze will pick up as the day goes on, so it will be quite a windy day, particularly across north and western areas. Now, the best of the sunshine is likely to be across the south and east through Thursday, and here temperatures will climb a little higher than they have done today. So we could see temperatures climbing as high as around 21 degrees across the far south and east by Thursday afternoon. Elsewhere, further north and west, much fresher into the low teens, 12 degrees at best for some.
£30,000 in tax-free cash really could be yours. It's our biggest cash prize of the year so far, and you could be getting that winning call from us to tell you that you're our next Great British Giveaway winner.
You're joking? Really? Seriously? It's not a wine, what is it?
I'm slipping neck. Oh dear.
Oh my God! This is amazing!
I'm in shock. Like I said, I've never won anything like this.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon! Thank you!
For a chance to win £30,000 in tax-free cash, text CASH to 63232. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries cost £2. Or post your name and number to GB07 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 30th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
The Royal Academy's annual exhibition has returned for the 256th time to brighten the summer holidays. It's the world's oldest open submission exhibition. Anyone can enter work to be considered for inclusion. I'm joined now by art critic JJ Charlesworth for his verdict. What is your verdict?
My verdict is you should go and see it. You are confronted with many things of varying quality, selected by artists, and you very much, instead of being given something to you that's supposed to be good, you have to make your own decision.
I went along yesterday and I personally did see some pictures on the wall that I thought were absolutely stunning. I'm going to mention Peter Ucker, which I think is a remark. And now these are the two by Ben Jonson, Grundtvig 1, and we've got one coming out of Berlin Pool. I think that's an absolutely stunning piece of work. And then Claire Douglas should be up. Here we are, Claire Douglas.
Yes.
Souvenir from the Anthropocene.
Yeah.
That last one, actually, a very witty painting.
A piece like that was really interesting. I think it caught a lot of people's eyes because it had very kind of humorous, slightly bleak take on post-Brexit Britain. It's set in this fictitious world of Brummington, which is a sort of loose satire on Birmingham. I thought it was a bit mean.
I think we had maybe Black Lives Matter. We had Boris Johnson. I think our own Jacob Rees-Mogg made his way into the painting.
Yeah, so there's definitely a slant, a political slant, on the part of the artist. But even that said, I thought it was an interesting and enjoyable work, even though maybe you don't agree with the artist on what they're trying to say. And I think that actually made for an interesting moment because you're seeing that people are disagreeing, right? Both through the artwork and in front of artworks.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This election night, we're putting on a party.
And you are invited.
We'll be here with you.
Following all the twists and turns.
As well as all the live reaction from our election night watch party.
With our GB News lineup.
And as morning breaks, we'll be here with breakfast from 6 a.m.
As it becomes clear who the winners and the losers really are.
Vote 2024.
Thursday, the 4th of July.
Only on GB News.
Britain's election channel.
Very good evening. You're with GB News. I'm Sam Francis. Up next is Headliners, but first a look at the top stories at 11. The Prime Minister has said during his final big campaigning event tonight that he is still in the general election fight. Rishi Sunak insisted it's not over until the final whistle blows, adding the election is not a foregone conclusion.
It is our job, it is our duty to make sure that Britain does not sleepwalk into this. And that's what I need your help with. Because yes, many people may want to say the result of this election is a foregone conclusion, but I believe in my bones that it is not, and I think you do too.
And in his last general election campaigning event tonight, Sir Keir Starmer has appealed to his supporters not to think that a Labour win tomorrow is guaranteed.
We are fighting for every vote, and across the country there will be constituencies which will go down to the wire. And therefore we will continue to fight until 10 o'clock tomorrow night, making the case that change only happens if you vote for it. But it is a huge opportunity for our country. This is the opportunity to turn the page and to move forward. And I want people to go out and vote for change and be part of the change that I think will bring about such a different and better future for our country.
Well, millions of people across the UK will be casting their vote between 7 o'clock tomorrow morning and 7 p.m. on Thursday, with the Labour leader now emerging with a huge lead in the final YouGov poll out tonight before people cast those ballots. The new projections put Labour on course to win 431 seats and the Conservatives sliding to just 102. YouGov's also put the Lib Dems on 74 seats and Reform on 3. And driving off in a pink Cadillac to ABBA's tune Take a Chance on Me, Sir Ed Davey's campaign ended in style tonight. After a series of stunts throughout the campaign, the Liberal Democrats leader has said there is now no ceiling to his ambitions. Before the UK heads to the ballot box tomorrow, he had this last message for voters.
This is a chance to vote for something different. Now, I believe this campaign has been great, but we have a special job to kick the Conservatives out of government. And then to start repairing the terrible damage they've done to our country.
Ofcom will not investigate Channel 4 News after Reform UK claimed the broadcaster had used an actor in an undercover report. Hundreds of complaints were filed about the programme, which showed Andrew Parker using a racial slur against Rishi Sunak. The regulator, though, has concluded the complaints didn't raise substantive issues under the Broadcasting Code. And the White House is insisting that Joe Biden is staying in the race after a report in the New York Times suggested the president had told a key ally he's weighing up whether to drop out. Yesterday, Congressman Lloyd Doggett became the first Democrat to call on the 81-year-old to withdraw. Earlier, Joe Biden admitted that he nearly fell asleep during last week's TV debate with Donald Trump. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, I'm Sam Francis, and up next, it's Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners. You'll look at the next day's newspapers with three top comedians. I'm Simon Evans, and tonight I'm joined by a man who eats only meat, that's Lewis Schaefer, and one of the finest dog trainers around, that's Count Dankula. How are you both?
I'm good, thank you for asking. I eat only meat and I'm very healthy, except today I've eaten a lot of bad stuff and I don't feel as good, so...
Well, that's N equals 1, but still it's worth knowing. And yeah. Count, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Yeah,
how's your pug?
Oh, he's doing great.
Is he?
Yeah, he's fine. Still does it.
He does. Excellent.
Yeah.
Have you expanded his repertoire? Can he do Mussolini now as well?
No, but we do actually have a black pug as well.
Okay.
And he does it whenever I say black power.
Excellent. You can have a range of salutes.
To keep it fair.
That's good. Yeah. Excellent. Well, let's take a look at tomorrow's front pages on this momentous day. We assume it's going to be momentous. The Daily Mail, vote Farage, get them. I think it's supposed to be as you will get them rather than get them. The Times, Labour set for biggest majority since 1832. The Telegraph, homeowners face council tax raid under Labour. There's Mark Cavendish, who has just won his 35th stage. Guardian, Starmer hails new age of hope as Britain votes in historic election. The Express, keeping it simple, vote Tory. And the Daily Star, Toodle Pip, as they say farewell to the clown administration. Those were your front pages. So let us begin with the Daily Mail, Lewis. They are warning us.
They are warning us. They're saying vote for Farage, get them, and them is
that's Keir Starmer and Angela Lansbury.
Can you give me at least a second?
Okay, you've got to hit the names.
Yeah, because I want people to think this guy hasn't done his homework. I know exactly who these people are. Not that we should. And this is, if I were her, I'd be so furious. She looks horrible. I don't know if you can see what she looks like with her nose, and he doesn't look that great either. But and they're saying so you should vote Tory. So the Daily Mail, the newspapers are so political, like so obvious. They're not even pretending that they're.
Well, you know, to be fair, on election day, I think that's traditional, isn't it?
It is, but it shouldn't be. It should be.
They break cover.
They should be newspapers. They're pretending that they don't care. Anyway, the truth is, this is even more reason why you should vote for reform, because the fact is that we're going to get these people anyway. They're going to win.
We are going to get these people anyway, and I do tend to agree with you. But it is notable, is it not, Count, that if you put together the Tory vote, the predicted Tory vote and the predicted Reform vote, they would be challenging Labour, in fact. They would still be challenging them.
They possibly would, but they're definitely not going to work together.
It's not going to happen,
No,
is it?
they're definitely not going to work together. Everyone's quite happy to work together to fight against the right, but... The right aren't exactly prepared to do the same thing for each other. But, I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't really want to work with the Tories because I think they've been very damaged.
Do you think... I mean, we've not actually met before. We've not had you on although you've been under a different administration, I think, under Andrew Doyle's stewardship. But what is your sort of historical political loyalty? Do you have any at all?
Don't answer.
When I was younger, I was a communist because we were all stupid when we were young.
Yeah.
Now I'm a Hoppian libertarian.
I mean, you're wearing a libertarian hat, so would you feel you don't feel represented on the potential on the ballot at all tomorrow?
No, not even a tiny little bit, because it's all government and I don't want one.
No, I mean, the closest would probably be reform. We would actually shrink the state a little bit for you, but...
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Lewis? Is it worth casting a protest vote in the hope that the Tories register that they've lost more people to the left than to the right than they have to the left?
Well, I don't think voting for reform would be a protest vote. I don't think. I think if they get 3, 4, 5 seats, however many seats is that. Listen, I don't vote, so I don't vote. But the fact is when it's time to vote, people will vote. And
do you have a postal vote in November?
I may. Yeah. I probably won't.
We'll come back to that when we get inside. Moving on to the Express, Count Dankula, we have their view, which is very similar, although it's expressed in slightly more unambiguous terms.
Yeah, it's just to directly vote Tory, and to be honest, no, I don't. I don't think very, very many people are. I mean, there is a very good reason why the 0 seats mantra is caught on the internet.
Yeah.
Because they've not done anything of note. Like, for the last 14 years, they've just consistently ignored what everyone actually wants. And they're supposed to be a Conservative party, but they're not exactly conserving much.
I mean, to be fair, for the first sort of 8 years of that, we had Brexit, we had Cameron and Osborne, it seems a long time ago, but the massive majority that was won in 2019, that's just been utterly betrayed, right?
You're right. They've thrown it away. It's like you say, they haven't done much. They've done a lot. They've let in 4 million people in the past. Whatever it is they have.
So I meant nothing good.
They haven't. That's the problem with the British political system. And the same thing in America, in a way. They're fighting over things that aren't the issue. The issue isn't the NHS. The issue is, as Nigel Farage says, it's immigration. And once you solve the immigration thing, then you could go to the NHS, but that's not happening.
I've seen one person today, Niall Ferguson, doctor or sir or whatever he is, economist and economic historian, really, saying that, and France, he says, faces this problem as well, because at the moment, of course, there's a big swing to the right across Europe, that a lot of the right-leaning parties depend on the pensioners for their vote. And the pensioners are the ones who want to maintain their standard of living without working, and that's where you need the migrants. Now, I'm not sure that adds up, personally. I think a lot of the immigrants are actually a net drain on our resources. But even if you were allowing that to be the case, that seems like that's a recipe for like a downward spiral, isn't it?
But the fact that you had to say that Niall Ferguson, this great professor guy, right, from Scotland, wherever the country is from.
He is from Scotland originally, yeah.
OK. The fact that you had to say that, this is what the issue should be, is like, if people say, oh, you know what, we have to have immigration in order to pay our bills, if they admitted this, but they haven't discussed this, it's not openly discussed.
No.
I'm with you. The Tories are absolute bad.
And finally, we got the Daily Telegraph, and I doubt very much they've diverted from the... what do they say?
No, because there are some newspapers that are going for Keir Starmer, I assume. So I don't know. I wasn't here when they chose these things, so I'm not taking responsibility.
What are you saying?
But
the homeowners face council tax raid under Labour, so that's obviously like a vote for Tory, right?
Yes, that's saying vote for the Tories because it's going to be bad for when Labour comes in. And it probably will be bad because this is the issue. It's not just about left or... It is about left or right, but it's about what's put in the whole thing. The whole thing of the left is a lot of things that people... we don't like, and the whole thing in the right are things that they don't.
But the massive problem that Labour are going to face, they have obviously created the sense that they are about to start distributing largesse, as Tony Blair did in '97, but the difference is he inherited a very healthy economy under Ken Clarke and Major's administration. Even though it was a bit dull, they inherited health, good economic health. The finances are in a mess now, and if Starmer starts trying to borrow money or sell bonds, the markets will react every bit as harshly as they did to Truss. So what's he going to do?
Well, I think it's going to be even worse when we're already in the midst of a cost of living crisis, which is showing no signs of slowing down, and then the first thing Labour does is when they go in and go, here's more taxes. Still, let's celebrate Mark Cavendish then. King Cav on the front page of the Telegraph there with an enormous codpiece. Obviously, only world-class sprinting cyclists are allowed to wear those. He has won his 35th stage in the Tour de France, and he won his first 16 years ago. I think that's a record, and he's beaten Eddie Merckx's world record for the most number of stage wins in the history of the Tour. So that's good news, right?
Does anybody care about this?
Yeah, Mark Cavendish. Come on, Cav. I mean, he was racing before. What was his name? The guy who was our 2012 Olympic Team GB. You remember the guy?
I remember there was a guy. Nobody cares about this, really. It's bicycle riding.
So cycling's something you do when you're a wee boy.
No, it's a massively supported, heavily sponsored commercial program. Let's finish with the Daily Star then, Count. You get to read out the list of unflattering epithets they've applied to the Tory party.
Well, I can't believe the Daily Star's not saying nice things about the Tories. I mean, obviously they'll be very, very happy that the Tories are going and saying Tudor Pip and saying they were clowns, and I never ever thought I would see a day when I'm actually agreeing with the Daily Star.
They haven't got boffins on the front page for a change anyway. Those were your front pages. It all seems to be pretty much of a nutmess. Those are done anyway. In part 2, we have the latest on Biden's bye-bye. Doesn't sound quite right, does it? But we'll find out more in a couple of minutes. See you there.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Question is...
should our museums stay free for everyone and anyone, or should we be charging our tourists?
So many of the artefacts are from around the world, stolen actually. I think it's almost to add insult to injury to ask people to pay to see the artefacts that were taken without their permission. One of the things that the museum set itself up for is a kind of World Heritage where you can see the stuff they took from your country free of charge. Because the British state's willing to do that, is one of the reasons why we hold on to many of the artefacts from around the world instead of giving them back.
I mean, that's a noble argument, Wayman, but none of the other countries in the world that also contain artefacts from all over the world indulge in that, do they? We still have to pay to see anything that's come from the UK that might be overseas?
No, but the absolute truth is that we've stolen a lot more over many more years than anybody else. Because we're we had a very, very big empire. And during that time, taking things from other countries without their permission.
And I think our wonderful country, the United Kingdom, is the cradle of modern civilization, not of the ancient world, but of the modern world. You know, for centuries, we've contributed things to the world, which has spread out around the world, and the influence that we've put upon countries around the globe has been massively significant. I think it's a privilege for people to be able to come to this country and track the history of our country through our museums. I can't understand why they've ever been free. The upkeep of museums runs into hundreds of millions of pounds a year. Somebody's got to maintain them and keep them good. Somebody's got to go around the world and collect the artifacts which are in our museums. And I've always had the adage in life, if something is free, it's probably not worth having.
The People's Channel. Weekdays on GB News. Wake up to breakfast every day from 6 a.m. Followed by Britain's newsroom at 9:30. At noon, it's Good Afternoon Britain. Followed by Martin Daubney from 3 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, GB News brings you accurate reporting of the day's topical agenda.
When the news breaks, wherever and whenever it's happening,
we'll be there.
This is GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
And welcome back to Headliners. I'm Simon Evans, with me Lewis Schaefer and Count Dankula. We have the Telegraph to kick off now. Biden might soon be dropping out of the race, maybe even the human race, Lewis.
Yeah, this is, I was going to say good news, because we don't even know what kind of news. Biden's seriously considering leaving election race. He didn't say he's seriously considering. He's out there and fighting.
Speculation, isn't it?
It's speculation. It's the Times, the New York Times, which is one of those newspapers, one of those things that seems like it's amazing, but is just basically garbage now. Yeah. I would say. I hate to say it. I read the New York Times since I was 7 years old. It was the family newspaper, so I believed it. I believed every single word.
It is thriving commercially again after Donald Trump. He actually saved it, didn't he?
He did save it,
but I know what you mean. Apparently, the day after the debate, which of course everyone saw, and it was humiliating. It was just like a car crash doesn't even do it justice. It was like somebody had never seen anything like that before. Three separate editorials in the New York Times the following day, three of their separate high-ranking political commentators demanding that Biden withdraw. Yeah. So, I mean, they've completely thrown in their, thrown their weight behind that idea now. They cannot get behind him. If he is still in the race in November, they cannot conceivably backtrack on that.
Yes, they can. They can say, hey, we don't like him, but we're going to have him. The point is, it's not their business who is running for president. He ran for president. He got chosen by his party or going to be chosen by his party. They can't just say, we don't, back out. And they did the same thing with Richard Nixon what do you... I don't mean to...
History will be kind to Richard Nixon. What do you think, Count?
I wasn't born when Richard Nixon was in power, I don't believe.
Let's park Nixon for one moment. But do you think that Biden... There was a suggestion, I think, that it was understood Biden would stand for a single term to defeat Trump, to get rid of him, and then while the Democrats regrouped, as it were.
It was definitely silly to make him run again, because the guy... not trying to be very mean, his brain doesn't work. It feels just sad now, wheeling him out there, and he's probably pumped full of all kinds of drugs or something.
People like you and I, who spend far too much of our lives on Twitter, we've seen the evidence for at least a couple of years, right? It seems like half the world was shocked by this, as if they hadn't been paying attention, or they were...
No, I think a lot of people were very, very concerned that a man who doesn't really know where he is half the time is in charge of the big red button. That made people a little bit concerned. He's not fit to stand for president.
But he is fit to stand. No, he is totally fit to stand because he's not the one making the decisions. His wife is making the decisions, or Barack Obama is making the decisions. This is why they don't want him, because it's basically exposed the American political system as a joke. That he's not.
So you think they're actually more comfortable with a man who is clearly just a figurehead, a puppet of
very, very malleable. Like, you could tell him anything. You could just set a bit of paper in front of him and go sign that, and he would do it.
9 times out of 10, I would agree on the day-to-day running of the country. It probably doesn't matter. To be honest, it probably doesn't even matter that much. If like half of the top, it's an enormous machine of government and all the checks and balances. But there are one or two responsibilities the president does literally have, commander-in-chief, in terms of war, in terms of really making the big calls on foreign policy, like if China overnight move into Taiwan. That actually does come down to Biden.
And he will get one of his daily calls from Barack Obama, who's going to say, OK, this is the time you go for it.
Or rather, Jill will.
That's where they set the bit of paper in front of him and go, sign this.
Sign this. That's why it's not that important. But the most important thing, important thing is the fact is that they haven't said that Barack Obama is team left world, is the team world guy.
On to The Guardian now. Starmer says we won't rejoin the EU in his lifetime. So this means he's only just started the rejoining process, Dankira, I would imagine.
It's just Brexit kind of feels like the American Civil War, where the losing side keep reenacting it and just won't shut up about it. Like all these years later, it happened. We had a vote, get over it and move on. And I don't know why it's still such a hot topic. And it's just like,
well, at least the Civil War had some great battles and some heroic figures, you know. And there were some sort of individual stories of heroism and glamour.
Yeah, you know, you had cannonballs and milkshakes. You know, I can see how they can compare each other. But it's like a vote's a vote. Like, we had the vote, it happened. You know, I wasn't happy with the outcome of the Scottish referendum, but we had a vote. And that was that.
I mean, I suppose it's interesting, isn't it? A lot of people would say the things that Keir Starmer does want to promise, does want to bring about, would actually probably be more easily done under the EU, the kind of politics he prefers.
Yeah.
And yet he feels that he absolutely cannot revive that corpse now. And some people will actually find that frustrating.
He is saying that, but whether he believes it is something else. The fact is, he's saying that to calm the Conservatives, to calm the Tory people who might vote for him. He's trying to calm people because everyone's in a panic. I was speaking to a friend of mine who said that he was in a state of dread over the... Oh, that was you. Yeah. State of dread over the election. Sorry. Whatever. And we're all in a state... Everybody's in a state of dread over this thing. He's saying, hey, don't worry about it. It might be the start.
Not my dread. I am deeply concerned about some things he might do. Nothing to do with the EU. I don't have any concern about that, to be honest.
Right, and so what they're doing is he's trying to calm as many people in many ways as possible.
Daily Mail now. It's good news for all our many viewers watching from prison, Lewis.
Yes, well, I love prison as an American. We got a lot of prisons there, and he would have been in prison already if we had prisons. You were in America, because I think there are 2 million people in prison in America. You know how many people are in prison?
Very few for memes, though. Mostly, I think it's mainly like the war on drugs, isn't it? Is 80% of it, I think.
In America? Yeah. Well, those are people who would have done other bad things. So
that's true.
They were probably... Anyway, Keir Starmer admits Labour will, in quote-unquote, all likelihood, continue releasing prisoners early amid fears jails will run out of space soon after the election.
That sounds ominous. It makes me concerned. What a strange thing to say.
Yeah.
Because that's what they believe. They believe that the people who are in prison generally they're people who would vote for Labour.
We need them out so they're voting.
And there aren't that many.
But to be fair, all he's saying is that they won't change the Tory policy. The Tory policy has been to release people early because the prisons are overflowing. They have no solution.
Yeah. They have no solution, but they're building about 10,000 more prison cells now, which will bring it up to like 90-something.
I think prison cells are a bit like fat cells. They should just be able to expand, depending on how they have the same number, but you can just expand them to
I would say jam people in.
Yeah.
But they might have...
work on rotation, like submarines. You know, 8 hours a day.
I might be there with Dankula.
Daily Mail now. The US say the Ukraine is too corrupt to join NATO. It's almost corrupt enough to host the Olympics.
Yeah.
Maybe not now. Best not.
What do you think?
100-metre dash, they'd be running really fast. Ukraine is too corrupt to join NATO, US says, in a major blow to Zelensky and a boost for Putin. And basically, we've been sending him a lot of money, and strangely, a lot of that money keeps going missing. Apparently, there's been a few diplomats stopped at airports with just suitcases absolutely packed with money and everything as well. And apparently it has been a problem, especially now with a war on, when things do get very, very messy.
I mean, I remember this, and it isn't sort of considered diplomatically correct or whatever to raise it now, now that obviously things have escalated. But before the war, before the invasion, there was an objectively accepted table of corruption of states around the world, and Ukraine were considerably more corrupt than Russia. It was understood it was closer to a failed state than Russia by the standard United Nations, which does not, of course, give Russia the right to invade it. But it should be no surprise to anyone that it's not... there is always this attempt to portray the invaded, a bit like Kuwait when Saddam went in. Suddenly you kind of, oh my God, poor little Kuwait, You
want to know something? It is a surprise. That's why it made the news. It is a surprise. the news, it should be surprises. And the fact is that because the United States has been sucking up to these people for so long, and I think this is what the problem is that NATO was a military unit of the United States for many years.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening now is that NATO is becoming more and more a military unit of Europe. And I think that's where there could be a problem, is that we're no longer in the game.
Well, NATO was the mechanism through which America guaranteed peace in Europe, right? That was essentially it. It was America's might.
That's what we said, but it was too...
Pax Americana. They cannot join NATO, even immediate, not while the Earth is still steaming, not while there's still dust in the air. You can't just join NATO.
What do you mean you just
that would automatically enter Europe into the war.
It's like tag wrestling. It's like if you can just make it to the ropes and suddenly in comes the rest of the world.
It's like a cheat code, like to win the war.
I mean, but it is. They can change the rules whenever they want to change the rules.
Well, we'll see. Finally, in this section, the Times with the weight loss drug that we've all heard about. Turns out it makes you blind, which is bad news for those with eyes bigger than stomachs, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, which would you rather be? Would you rather be able to eat as much as you want to or be blind?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fat. And I know you want to eat.
Diabetes makes you blind, though, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's either way.
It's those who are diabetic it enhances the risk. If you're already diabetic through overeating...
Speeds up the process.
It multiplies the risk of this quite rare eye disease, but still, nasty, by 7 times. You're 7 times more likely to get it.
Yeah, so it goes from 1 person out of 10,000 to 3 people.
Is it that? I can't tell if it's that kind of numbers.
You can tell because it's written right down here. I
can't find it
myself. It says this statement, whatever it is, affects up to 1 in 10,000 people every year. So the risk remains low. It went up to 3. The point is this: the research was done by Harvard, and Harvard is one of those now disrespected universities. It's like they're I don't know how to... They're horrible.
I talk to a lot of people from there that are getting investigated for free speech stuff all the time.
Harvard.
At
Harvard. So it comes out of Harvard. It's wrong. Secondly,
so you're pro Ozempic, are you? That surprises me.
I'm not pro Ozempic.
And Wegovy or whatever it's called.
I lost weight the hard way.
Yeah.
Which is called not eating.
With a knife.
I've lost a stone in the last month.
Yeah, and you know how hard it is.
Have you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
What, through deliberate ploys?
I'm getting divorced.
Your wife's keeping the stone.
She took half my beard as well.
Your wife.
We're at the halfway point. We have still to come. More women MPs than ever before, and they're angrier than ever. Join us in the second half. See you there.
Are you getting divorced?
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Thursday is going to be a windy day, particularly for northwestern areas, but it will be sunnier. There is a risk of some quite heavy showers, though, particularly where it turns quite windy overnight tonight across northwestern areas. You can see those tightly packed isobars. That indicates stronger winds. So we could see gale force winds across the far north and west of Scotland. Elsewhere, a breezy evening and morning on Thursday morning. But there will be clearer skies out there through the rest of tonight, so it will turn much drier and clearer. Temperatures will be allowed to fall away, though, so we'll be down into single figures for some areas, so slightly fresher start to the day, but there's going to be more sunshine around to start the day tomorrow morning for most areas. However, across western areas of Scotland, quite frequent showers will move in, as well as across the Northern Isles as well. These bring a risk of thunder as well and could last for quite a while. We'll also see some heavy showers across parts of Northern Ireland into some northwestern areas of the UK, of England as well. But eastern areas and southern and central areas should stay dry through Thursday morning and, in fact, well into the afternoon as well. But the breeze will pick up as the day goes on, so it will be quite a windy day, particularly across north and western areas. Now, the best of the sunshine is likely to be across the south and east through Thursday, and here temperatures will climb a little higher than they have done today. So we could see temperatures climbing as high as around 21 degrees across the far south and east by Thursday afternoon. Elsewhere, further north and west, much fresher into the low teens, 12 degrees at best for some of us. Now, a bit of a switch around for Friday as the wet weather spreads into more southern areas. There's some uncertainty in exactly how far north this will push, but many southern and central areas of England and Wales are likely to see a much wetter day as we head into Friday, whereas it will turn a little bit drier to the north. Looking ahead to the weekend, a mix of sunshine and showers through much of the weekend and temperatures climbing a little bit higher by Monday. Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. You're comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister.
Which is it? Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained. I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday.
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
This election night, we're putting on a party.
And you are invited.
We'll be here with you.
Following all the twists and turns.
As well as all the live reaction from our election night watch party.
With our GB News lineup.
And as morning breaks, we'll be here with breakfast from 6 a.m.
As it becomes clear who the winners and the losers really are.
Vote 2024.
Thursday, the 4th of July.
Only on GB News.
Britain's election channel. And welcome back to Headline as we kick off this section with the iNews. And it's good news for LGBT and POC MPs. Bad news for people who don't like acronyms.
Yes, there's a record numbers of gay, women and ethnic minority MPs predicted to be elected. No one cares. literally no one cares. There's no direct link between LGBT stuff and governments operating well. Yeah. Right, you know, there's nothing. It's just like they're people like everybody else, and when they go in there, they'll be just as dishonest as everybody else.
What if they have been selected in order to fulfil a quota? Would they still be as likely to be as good as anyone else, or do you suspect
a DEI hire, so not brought into it based on merits, which I think they should be for a very, very important position.
I mean, if there were a negative correlation, if it turned out that the more diverse governments actually perform worse, do you think anyone would flag that up?
No, no one would. I would.
Yeah.
I definitely would.
That's the service we provide.
Because you're against it to begin with.
I want to say as well, do you not think it's a bit odd that women get bracketed? I understand that women were excluded from politics for a long time, but it's still odd to me to see them in between gay and minority ethnic. Do you know what I mean? As if they're they're an outlier, as if they're some kind of weird hybrid or something.
Yeah, well, as someone who used to be in an ethnic group.
Oh, I thought you were a woman.
Well, we could do this. Except is you want to be included in this? You say, well, am I included? Luckily, I'm in the plus category, the plus sign of the LGBT plus. I'm one of the plus.
Plus?
Well, I mean, Jews were in the 19th century, of course.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of?
Or
Jews
American. Or American. Listen, when somebody says we're going to put you in to make sure you get a place, of course you're going to say, OK, thanks a lot.
Has there ever been a senior American... Well, Churchill was half American, of course, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's controversial.
And so was Boris Johnson, right? Isn't he?
Yeah,
the truth is, I don't.
He can still be president, right, Boris Johnson? Born in New York, I think
he was. Yeah, I think he could be. I don't care because why even make me think about that? It's bad enough that he's opening his mouth in this country still. Is that at the end of the day, I disagree with you.
No, I think it's a bit bad. I mean, they've got even here like 41% of MPs are predicted to be women. Like, imagine the nagging. Or when it comes to votes, like, are you voting yes or no? I shouldn't have to tell you. You should just know.
Could you just?
We've got to last the rest of the night. Guardian now. Back to America's presidential race, where things are heating up, although not according to Donald Trump.
Oh, yes, this is good news. There is a good news. It's nonsensical how Trump is making climate the latest culture war. And he's saying the climate change is rubbish, which is something, I mean, I think you're going to agree with me. Climate change is rubbish.
Yeah, I don't understand how us paying more taxes is going to change the weather.
Yeah, well, that's what they want to do. They want to just charge more taxes. Climate is not the culture war. Climate is the full-on war. It's the silo which says we got to destroy our country versus what Donald Trump is saying. He's saying let people build and do what they want to do.
And he says that his power shower is no longer powerful, and he can't wash his hands properly because he doesn't.
Oh, it was his his luscious hair that he said, his luscious flowing hair.
I mean, you've got to say, he is at least amusing, isn't he? Whether or not you like his politics.
I love Trump. I love Trump. He's hilarious.
Don't say that. Don't say that. We're on TV.
I love
It's a great performance. I mean, in Britain, I think you can definitely make the case, again, whether or not you believe in it, that the race for net zero is extraordinarily masochistic because we contribute such a tiny amount to global warming. But America does at least have a little bit more heft in that regard.
Oh, stop that. Stop that. That has nothing... That's a completely ridiculous. Nothing to do with it. The fact is that the reason why Britain is not burning as much stuff is because we've let other countries burn the stuff for us and then ship it to us. And a case could be made, if climate is so important, if CO2 is so important, that whatever little bit is done, just because we're not the biggest country in the world, we still need to do our share. I don't believe this rubbish.
We'll move on to the Daily Mail with a win for anti-vaxxers. Now, I am not an anti-vaxxer, but I will say I haven't had my period since I got my vax.
It says a scientist awarded $700,000 after being fired for refusing COVID vaccine. We are going to see so many more of them. We're definitely going to see lots of them in the future. And about 20, 30 years after, you know what they do, where they wait until everyone directly involved in it has died, and then they say, oh, that was bad, actually, or there's no one to punish anymore, or bad.
That's
what's definitely going to happen.
So this is a woman who believed that she had religious grounds for refusing the vaccination because she is anti-abortion, and she believed that they use stem cells or something from fetuses to make in the process, which is not entirely true, but I think there were some stem cells or something used at some point in the research.
I think in the initial process of making don't quote me on this, making the base of the vaccine, it is used, but there's none of it in the actual vaccine itself.
So I suppose the question is does that mean that this is a special enough case that it will protect them from anybody else who just refused to take the vaccine because they didn't fancy it?
Well, I don't know that, but this is Tennessee, and remember, America has 50 states and 50 kind of Supreme Courts of 50 states, and this is in the state of Tennessee, which is one of those Donald Trump type states, Texas and whatever, Florida and Tennessee. It's one of those states. It's Memphis and whatever those cities are. Nashville and Chattanooga. I think it's the place, Chattanooga. And the truth is that I myself I had a religious problem against taking the vaccine. I am deathly afraid of
sharp needles,
Of sharp needles. That's why I didn't take it. I would have taken it.
I didn't take it because I don't trust giant pharmaceutical conglomerates who obviously profited massively from this.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? 200 years after, the Scottish Enlightenment basically pointed out that superstition and cleaving to, 2,000-year-old desert theologies shouldn't be any way to organise it. And yet still, religion will trump other rational reasons for not wanting to. If you just say, I didn't think that they had, explored the possibility that the vaccine was dangerous, I didn't want to take it, that won't be adequate. But because she can say it's a religious belief.
The truth is, I can't speak for this woman, but I know it wasn't the 2,000-year-old religious thing that made her stop taking it. She just, if it had been proven that this thing would have worked, I guarantee you everyone would have taken it. Even Count Dankula would have taken it.
No.
On to the Guardian now. He's clearly not afraid of needles, whatever else he is. On to the Guardian, and it turns out women are furious. What have you done this time, Lewis?
Oh, yes. Well, I'm a man. All the rage, women are furious. And repressing it can ruin lives.
This isn't news.
This isn't news. And that's why.
Everyone knew that.
And this is one of those articles.
Well, it genuinely isn't. It's a puff piece for some podcast.
Is that what it is? The fact is, normally there are these huge articles on a Sunday, when they have to film.
This is a woman. She runs a therapy thing where you stand on motorway bridges and scream into the gale, or you scream underwater. Or
you don't need a group for that. Women scream at me all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. Women scream all the time.
Yeah.
I have screamed today, incidentally. I was trying to fill in an online planning consent form and
that's fair.
And trying to fill in a little plan thing with some kind of rectangle to show where and I literally screamed at one point.
So what does that mean? You're a woman?
I guess, yeah. I'm in touch with my feminine side, at least.
But the difference, I think, between men and women is we are told we cannot scream. You can't scream in the office.
Big boys don't scream.
Yeah, because it's dangerous. You can't tell how dangerous this Count Dankula guy is. He is, scary.
I guess maybe the difference is between...
on his arms. Look at the tattoos.
The difference is between screaming and more like a kind of vocalised, more like a Brian Blessed roar.
Yeah.
I think, roar, you know what I mean? If you try and give it a kind of Welsh male voice choir to let it out, roar!
Yeah, and you are also, and people don't know this about Simon, he's super scary. Because you can't see his eyes. He's like peering at you through like tiny little things.
The lasers. Finally, in this section, does voting Conservative make you fat?
I'm going to hear Tory backers more likely to be obese, study finds, but I mean, that's just because they can afford food.
Yeah.
Like
Well, no, obesity is a sign of poverty these days, isn't it? Bizarrely, though, that appears.
To be fair, and a lot of the cheaper stuff that's out there that most people have to go for because it's all they can afford, there is just a bunch of over-processed rubbish in it that just makes you start.
I looked into this, though. I was slightly interested because previous research and studies have suggested that men, at any rate, who go to the gym and put on muscle are more likely to be right-wing. That like... lifting, do you even lift, bro, and all that kind of culture. Yeah. That is a right-wing thing. So this seems to go against it. Now, when you read into it, it says that your BMI, 1% higher correlates with being voting Tory.
No, 1 point higher.
1 point higher. Sorry,
right.
Yeah, 1 point out of from 24 to 25. Whatever.
So everyone's just one Twinkie away.
So it's
from being right-wing.
It's tiny, and B, your BMI actually goes up if you put on muscle. Right? Yeah. Rather than losing fat. So it could easily be the same thing. These people could actually be in good shape. They're just more dense because they've got more muscle.
Well, you actually pointed out the problem. We'd have to see that I haven't seen the study.
You've got to drill into it.
And I don't know what it means.
Well, it says doctors were just asking patients how they vote, and that's news you don't want for the doctor. Imagine getting diagnosed as Tory.
Yeah, that's Tory. How many units of alcohol this week, Mr. Dacker?
And they all lie. Everybody lies.
Just the final section to go with Ice Age art, medieval swords. Is it Joe Biden's yard sale? We'll find out after the break.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
How deep is the rift between Prince William and Prince Harry? Well, it's been reported that Prince William is refusing to speak to Prince Harry and has even taken on the role of disciplinarian, which was once, of course, the job of Prince Philip. But has that job gone now to William?
After the death of his mother, I know that Prince William had to think again. And then we see him with the Emperor and Empress of Japan. William thought again, do I want to do this job? Because there's nothing in our uncodified, unwritten constitution that says anybody has to be heir to the throne. And he thought about it. He was only 15 at the time. And he decided he did, and he's done his duty, in great contrast to Prince Harry. Now, I don't think there's any chance at all of there being a reconciliation with the brothers now or in the foreseeable future. It goes back to Oprah Winfrey interview, then the book Spare, and all the things that were said in the Netflix 6-part series. Too much bad blood, and William is not going to forgive that. Principally because he, of course, and his wife attacked personally his wife, Kate. And even when the announcement of her cancer was made, their mealy-mouthed response to it didn't show any great concern to her.
Okay.
Because William looks at them and he would say what most people would say. All of this is completely unnecessary. It is unnecessary. Prince Harry has had a wonderful, privileged life. He owes everything to being a member of the royal family. People who are struggling, people who are battling, would wonder why he's so upset.
The People's Channel. Weekdays on GB News. Wake up to breakfast every day from 6 a.m. Followed by Britain's newsroom at 9:30. At noon, it's Good Afternoon Britain. Followed by Martin Daubney from 3 p.m. Only on GB News. The People's Channel. Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. GB News, Britain's election channel.
We're
Proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
And welcome back to Headliners for our final section under a Tory government. We jump back in with the Times with a story about one of Bindon's, Joe Biden's childhood paintings, Lewis.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I get the joke. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. All right, because you and your jokes.
He's very old, you see.
Yeah, I get it. So this is a cave painting from 52,000 years ago. It's the world's oldest story. It's the oldest cave painting. It's a painting, and it's in an island of Sulawesi, which is the island between Borneo and Papua New Guinea.
So probably not actually an ice age, in fact. I was probably wrong about that in the earlier intro, because I would imagine they stayed ice-free even during that period.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that, Well, it was probably some kind of bridge or something. This is before they were growing rice in the thing, which people think is out forever, but it's only a couple
50,000 years ago, they were in Indonesia.
Yeah,
I thought that was when they were supposed to come out of Africa. They must have gone straight there.
I think it was estimated 70,000 years ago, they think, is when they first arrived.
They found a hobbit there, didn't they? Do you remember?
No.
The island of, near Bali, there's Komodo. I can't remember what it's called.
Is this the mysterious, what they called again, the Denisovans?
The little homunculus.
Yes,
not the Denisovan. No, that's a different one, I think.
Oh, they're Nepalese.
God, it's called the Island of Frodo or something like that. But it's not Frodo.
So this is not even big news. I don't know why this is in the newspaper.
Well, I think it's because I quite like cave paintings and stuff, and it sounds like this is quite a complex. I've seen a number of cave paintings in France. I did one of those ones where you do a mile-long walk in darkness, holding a little lantern like a dwarf in dwarves, you know. They are absolutely amazing, but they are by and large just representations of animals. This one apparently is like a tableau. There's some men gathered around a pig.
A pig which they've cut. So basically it says, and they said it's an impression of a bunch of hunter-gatherers, but it says nothing about gathering any food. It's just hunters. It's a guy with a pig. Maybe it wasn't hunters. Maybe the pig walked in and killed himself.
There are very few paintings of like fruit and nuts.
I think the reason it's important is it's probably the earliest example of human emotional expression.
Yeah.
I think
or
that's
maybe
why.
It was an early David Cameron induction rite.
Do you know what? I thought about making that joke, but I thought I've done too much tonight. But
Flores, anyway, it is the island. It came back to me. Flores, the Isle of Flores, worth a visit. On to the Independent now, and a 1,300-year-old French sword has been lifted from the stone. I checked sword listings on Craigslist, I guess.
Well, technically, whoever pulled it out is now the King of France, which is not the best job to have considering what happened to the last one.
Well, you say that, but Napoleon said he saw the crown of France lying in the gutter and he picked it up. That was so, you know.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
He had a good run while it lasted.
Didn't he technically get killed by wallpaper? No. Not exactly that legendary, but it was...
we all have our kryptonite.
Or arsenic. It's called the Durando sword from Rocamadour in southern France, and apparently it's based on this old legend where there was an old knight called Roland, and apparently he was fighting against a bunch of Saracens, and to make sure the Saracens wouldn't get his sword, he threw his sword for kilometres and kilometres, and it wedged itself in the rock, and it became part of the legend of this town, and of course someone's nicked it.
And Roland. So basically, it's someone who said this is... You can't believe this story. The whole story is so. I'm glad someone took the thing because it didn't get thrown into the thing. It was all fat.
No, there was pictures of it.
In a disenchanted world, do you? This is great stuff.
Well, see, you get students that have got all the traffic cones, in their dorm, like these guys have just got an ancient, legendary French sword.
You would think, even if it can come out, that the French would have, secured it somehow, though, wouldn't you?
You would think that, but obviously they've got it.
Secured already, the fact that it was in a stone.
Maybe it's climate change. The Times are discussing which facial hair suggests a man is ready to settle down, presumably once he rids himself of his free moustache rides.
Well... He's got a beard too. The facial hair that'll tell you that a man is ready to settle down. What's the big answer? Not shaving it. It's growing a beard. So you're halfway there.
I'm on the way back out. I was clean shaven when I married, and I've been trying to grow my beard
Yeah, because it's manly.
Well,
because that's what women say. What is facial hair? It's a secondary sexual characteristic. It says to a man that you're a man, which is why women don't like to have it, and men like to have it.
But it's very much a fashion thing, isn't it? Because I do remember when beards came back in. This was maybe about 2003 or something. I very specifically remember I was sitting in Edinburgh during the Fringe, and there was a massive French Connection store, and they had, like, 3-story high model posters, and there was a man with a beard, and it was kind of shocking. It was jarring because it had been so long since I'd seen a fashion model with a beard. And then, within 6 months, they were everywhere.
Hipsters made them more popular and brought them back.
What did hamsters?
Hipsters.
Oh, hipsters. Hamsters, they never went away. They always had them.
If you've got a beard, you're telling a woman, I'm a guy. So that's the answer. The answer is it just shows that not just American and British universities waste money. This is the University of Silesia and the University of Padua.
But in the 1960s, growing a beard meant you weren't ready to settle down. It meant you were a hippie, right? That was completely different signalling.
Yeah, it was a sign because people didn't have beards until the 1960s.
It's all what we think it is. None of it really matters anyway. I think that's my view.
Women are very mixed on facial hair anyway, so.
Dankula, the Metro now. Never mind the quality, feel the width.
Why was I given this one? Forget about the size of a penis. What about vagina length? Something we apparently don't talk about enough. And everyone's like...
We shouldn't be talking about it. We should not be talking about it.
No, we shouldn't. What time is it? Like, can we talk about this bit?
I don't want to, expose the naivety of my back, but I don't believe that ever came up.
No, this is not...
This conversation, what was she like? Did she do this? Did she... No, that would never, ever come up.
Yeah.
We're happy to be there. We don't care about what's going on there.
Camille Paglia has written a great book 30 years ago called Sexual Personae, in which she explores the different sexual, personae of men and women in drama and she says the interesting thing about women is their sexual organ is all hidden. It's all out of sight. This is the defining characteristic. Don't destroy that mystery.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Have I given you enough to...
No, it's just mostly like, when they're talking about, having intercourse and stuff like that, and I'm like, I mean, from experience, they don't like it when you hit the back.
Can we not discuss this?
I want to keep doing it because it makes Lewis uncomfortable.
Raise the tone. Can we manage it? A celebrity with the fastest growing social media of all time is the scientist responsible for cracking cold fusion. No, it's not.
No, it's not. There's a woman named Haley Wells. I didn't even know who this woman was. And I don't want to discuss it. You know what it is? I just realised I'm too old to be...
Do you have anything about this girl? I think she's actually quite sweet and innocent.
It's a meme fad. The way memes work is, they come in, they're funny for 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then they die and disappear. That's what should have happened with my Nazi pug video, but it's not what happened.
It's what happened to that rich men north of Richmond guy as well, isn't it? She's like the kind of fellatio version of that.
She is striking the iron while it's hot and trying to sell merch and do a podcast.
I wish
and all that.
She seems like a sweet girl. The show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Thursday's front pages as we go into the election. The Daily Mail: vote Farage, get them. That's the warning. The Times: Labour set for biggest majority since 1832. The Great Reform Bill, since you ask. Telegraph: homeowners face council tax raid under Labour. Guardian: Starmer hails new age of hope as Britain vote in historic election. The Express: vote Tory. And the Daily Star: toodle pip to the clown shoes of the Tory administration. That's all we have time for. Thank you to my guests, Lewis Schaefer and Count Dankula. We're back tomorrow at Friday at 11 p.m, unless we've been banned by them. We've got some other people on. If you're watching at 5 a.m, stay tuned for breakfast. Otherwise, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for your company, and I will see you again under Labour. Good night.
A brighter outlook with Box Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Thursday is going to be a windy day, particularly for northwestern areas, but it will be sunnier. There is a risk of some quite heavy showers, though, particularly where it turns quite windy overnight tonight across northwestern areas. You can see those tightly packed isobars. That indicates stronger winds. So we could see gale force winds across the far north and west of Scotland. Elsewhere, a breezy evening and morning on Thursday morning. But there will be clearer skies out there through through the rest of tonight, so it will turn much drier and clearer. Temperatures will be allowed to fall away though, so we'll be down into single figures for some areas, so a slightly fresher start to the day, but there's going to be more sunshine around to start the day tomorrow morning for most areas. However, across western areas of Scotland, quite frequent showers will move in, as well as across the Northern Isles as well. These bring a risk of thunder as well and could last for quite a while. We'll also see some heavy showers across parts of Northern Ireland into some northwestern areas of the UK, of England as well. But eastern areas and southern and central areas should stay dry through Thursday morning and, in fact, well into the afternoon as well. But the breeze will pick up as the day goes on, so it will be quite a windy day, particularly across north and western areas. Now, the best of the sunshine is likely to be across the south and east through Thursday, and here temperatures will climb a little higher than they have done today. So we could see temperatures climbing as high as around 21 degrees across the far south and east by Thursday afternoon. Elsewhere, further north and west, much fresher into the low teens, 12 degrees at best for some of us. Now, a bit of a switch around for Friday as the wet weather spreads into more southern areas. There's some uncertainty in exactly how far north this will push, but many southern and central areas of England and Wales are likely to see a much wetter day as we head into Friday, whereas it will turn a little bit drier to the north. Looking ahead to the weekend, a mix of sunshine and showers through much of the weekend and temperatures climbing a little bit higher by Monday.
That warm feeling inside from